Welcome to Ajatella, the show that transitions you from think to change. And we have brought back Mr. Drake Masinde. He is a communication specialist, a writer, and a mentor. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we had such a good time talking about the battle within. And today we are discussing choosing your army. Everybody has an army. I have one. Do you have one? So one of the first questions I'd like to ask, what does it take or what should someone do when they're choosing their personal army?
Choosing a personal army. Your personal army is the people who you will go to battle with. First of all, you start by defining the kind of soldier that you want in your army. You want someone who is loyal. If you don't have loyalty, it means this person is not going to be honest with you. Integrity is very important, and with integrity, loyalty comes in. So choosing a person who is loyal is one of the key things when you're going into battle. Someone who is loyal will basically fight with you to death.
Wow.
And that's the mark of friendship, someone who will fight with you to death. And so I believe if you choose someone who is loyal, it will, first of all, you're going to have 50% of the answer. I remember a situation in the book of Job where Job was going through a very difficult time. And he had friends who came to sit with him. They may not have been the very best influence, but they were good enough to be able to help him overcome that personal battle he was going through. And so, first of all, you have to have a loyal friend. Secondly, you have to share the same values. Mm-hmm. And values are very important. For example, you cannot have Christian values and you spend most of your time with people who do not share the same values with you. Sure. It means there are very many personal battles you will lose. So I think those are the two I can just think off the top of my head. They should be loyal and you should share
the same values. You know, thank you so much for that. And even if, as we discuss that further, when it comes to loyalty, I know many people have perceived loyalty. And that's when you think someone is loyal, but when trouble comes, you know, that person goes away. So what are some of the things that can make someone, let's say they're watching us at home, how can you identify this person is for me and this one is not? Because sometimes on face value, everybody is friendly, but what level of discernment or what is required for you to know who is for you and who is not for you?
Interesting. Let me use an example of intelligence agencies. Okay. How do they check loyalty?
Mm-hmm. Very good.
First, you get someone who is, you test. Mm-hmm. Loyalty is tested.
Wow.
You cannot know someone is loyal unless you test them. Mm-hmm. And there are various kinds of tests. And as I said in the previous episode, there are always small battles before the major battle.
Absolutely.
So you can have a small battle, and through that, get to know that my friend is loyal or my friend is not loyal. Yeah. Number two, your circle of friends has to be small. Mm-hmm. So if it's small, you will be able to identify and test whether someone has been loyal before or not. So going back to the intelligence agency, after you test, loyalty is tested and assessed. What else do you do? What I can think of just off the top of my head is after you have tested loyalty, you look for battles. You make battles that you see whether you can fight together. Let me give an example. You have a struggle with finances and you decide, me and my friend, I'm testing loyalty here. Mm-hmm. Let's start a chama. Yeah. For example. When you start a chama, for those of you who don't know, a chama is like how do you call it?
It's like a group that
comes together to pool resources towards a particular goal.
Yes.
And so you can start a chama and you see how do they give their money. Yeah. Because where your money is where your heart is.
Lies, yes.
So if every other time they have an excuse, their heart is not there.
Yeah.
And so that means that that is not someone you can count on during the time of battle. That's just an example of how you can
Absolutely.
test. So their relationship with money will determine how they could be loyal to you.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, you've said something that is very, very interesting, that loyalty is tested, number one, through experience and through situations. That if someone has not been loyal in the past, you might want to put a question mark before you trust them with loyalty again. And you know, one of the things about choosing your personal army, because one of the things that this show is pushing for is that everybody should have a personal army. That the 1, 2, 3, or 4 people who can fight with you day or night. And you know, we spoke about the battle within that. Even those people, your army can help you in the day of battle. Because one of the things that really hinder us is that sometimes when the battle is coming is when you're choosing the army. You know, because if we take the example of a battle, a physical battle among countries or among groups, the day of the battle is not the day you select the soldiers. You know, that's the day that you pick the soldiers who are already prepared. So what we advise someone, let's say they chose someone to be in their army, but they saw that person was not loyal. How do you walk away, or how do you separate someone from your army without using wisdom, or without severing the ties in a negative manner?
There's no nice way of doing this.
Oh, wow.
I believe that, because in an army, if you're not loyal, they ruthlessly cut you off. And so when you're going to a war, when you're going to a battle, when you're selecting your soldiers, first of all, even before when you're in the process of selecting those friends, there are things you need to look at. And one of the things that I had not mentioned before is there are different kinds of soldiers for different kinds of wars. That's why in an army you'll have an infantry. You're going to have the guys in the air. You're going to have marine guys. You're going to have a navy. So there are different friends for different things. An example, if you need a friend to be bailing you out, a friend to be bailing you out financially, you make those kind of friends and you test them in that. Now, coming back to the mind, if you need someone to encourage, you probably have been encouraging them before. So it means that in your time of battle, you can count on them to be there for you during that time. They will reciprocate the feeling. And so when you're in your personal battles, because the personal battles take very many facets, it could be this time it's sickness and it's affecting you mentally. This other time it could be depression. This other time it could be a loss of some kind. And so you need friends. Like that's why people, for example, are told to belong to a church. Why? Not because a church is, a church is a place where you go to receive the gospel, then you go out there. But the church is also a welfare group. These are the people, for example, when you're going through a loss, they will be there with you during that time of battle. Another reason why people sometimes belong to a church is because they are the people who know you. Because I advocate for people to be in a church for a long time. You can't be a person who jumps from one church to the next, because these people will not have a witness of the kind of person that you are. So because they don't know you, it's hard. It's hard for them to be able to relate with you. But if you have people who have known you for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and I know there are people who have been in some churches for 60 years. And so that is their welfare group. That is their friends. And by the way, I was reading a book written by a guy called Daniel Boetner. It talks about the blue zones. Blue zones are the places where people live longest. And do you know one of the 5 things that help people live long? Is most of the people in those blue zones, by the way, live to be over 100.
Wow.
And so, because they live to be over 100, one of the things that makes them live long is their social circles. Their friends.
Wow.
If you have friends and relations which are good, positive, and they build you, you will live longer.
Wow.
And so all 5 of them, and they're in different parts of the world, in Costa Rica, in Italy, in the US, Japan, all those 5 blue zones, people live very long, and it's because of those particular...
the social circle.
Yes.
You know, and as we begin to wind up, one of the things that I really take away is that an army is selected based on need, and an army is selected based on loyalty and experience as well. So maybe as we wind up, what is the one thing that you can tell that person who is watching us at home? How do they choose their personal army? If they miss anything else, what is the one thing that they should look out for so that they're not deceived again?
Loyalty.
Okay, wow.
David is an example I want to go back to again. In the book of 1 Samuel, David had a friend in Jonathan. Now, this is the weird part. David's friend Jonathan was the son of the man who wanted to kill him. Very weird. And so David was friends with a man who was very loyal to him. So they had created a bond that took that loyalty to another level.
Wow.
And so for me, loyalty is key.
Wow.
He may not have been very strong. He may have been a passive man. But Jonathan was loyal to David.
Wow.
And that's what mattered during the time of
trouble. Wow, thank you. And thank you so much. For me, I take away that at the end of the day, you choose the soldiers that are in battle and make sure that they fight with you. So even though you have chosen or selected soldiers before who did not fight with you, there is always time to select your soldiers wisely. Choose your personal army with intelligence and with intellect and with wisdom. That's my parting shot. What's yours?
Same. Intelligence, wisdom, and most of all, loyalty.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. I think we're going to bring you back again. We really want to continue with this conversation. So thank you so much for watching Ajatella from Think to Change.